July 9th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom number 3. Court is now in session 4. How do I say that?
Maki Tobai, Your Honor. The pixie of the arpeggio.
Right, his trial. Court is in session. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is A-OK, Herr Judge.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin.
My opening statement, yeah?
No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yes?
Say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them?
What?
I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'd only be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son. It's said that the beard's tears cure cancer. It's too bad the beard never cries. The Chief Justice? His son is afflicted with a most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending?
She's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement briefly.
You're in luck, Herr Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think.
That's what you think, Gavin.
First to reveal the victim in this case. Romein LeTouse, age 35. The global manager for diva songstress Lamiroir. The cause of death? Blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
Court accepts this into evidence. LeTouse's autopsy report added to the court record. 45 caliber, that's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet.
However, the bullet struck him in the shoulder. The damage to the body was slight, death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved.
I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. Crime photo added to the court record.
2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit.
I see. The court accepts this evidence. Diagram added to the court record. If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really?
Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body.
Fail.
The defense will take more care in choosing examples. Don't insult the beard, or the beard will destroy you.
As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance, this door.
That does seem to be the case, yes.
However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots.
He's talking about you and Emma, huh?
Yet when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course.
But that's impossible!
Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person.
One person?
That is, of course, the defendant, Maki Tobai.
Only this defendant could have committed the crime? But how?
It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear.
Very well. I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Let the witness please take the stand. The beard demands it. Emma.
Your name and profession, please.
Emma? I kind of expected Maki, actually.
Ema Skye. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night.
Ema seems tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder.
Now, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know. Like growing that mustache that one day. Ugh. I'm sure that makes her feel much better.
I want to hear about these bigger mistakes.
You and everybody else, Trucy. The bear doesn't make mistakes. She was lying.
In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered, and we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime, please.
Alright.
Murderous circumstances.
The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene.
But that door was the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I don't get it. How can they say that Maki did it?
Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. It's time to press! Aw, yeah. Murderous circumstances. The first thing I want to press is that last statement. Only people involved with the concert were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. Went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. Then when the scene determined, how did you determine this? How could you know something like that?
As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen. You know there was only one exit from the room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of the door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent.
Ah! But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly...
Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child.
Trucy did it. Trucy's the murderer. It's confirmed. The bear demands it.
I didn't do
A
it!
child?
Stop saying
Remember,
that!
access to those rooms were limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed.
And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child.
Yep, Trucy did it. Trucy is a murderer. The defendant?
The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up towards the sky
Okay, so it wasn't Trucy. Forget it.
and disappeared from the scene of the crime.
But that's just conjecture.
Oh, there was no other way out of that room. You were there, you should know, Air Forehead.
Ugh.
And there's another vital piece of evidence.
Evidence? What?
Marks were found on the air vent grill. Traces that it had recently been opened.
Wait, what?
And something else was found, quite clearly. The defendant, Maki Tobai's fingerprints.
What? Order!
That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Air Forehead? What fairy tale does this suggest to you?
Ugh.
Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our pixie.
What are you looking at, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience.
So this was his decisive evidence. Quite decisive indeed. I know the circumstances under which the body was found. I was there.
An examination of the crime scene was enough to nail down the killer?
I'm sure they have a good reason. They must have had a good reason to arrest Maki. They must have had a good reason to arrest Maki. And I'm going to find out what it was. Alright, let's press this. We were let in, though.
I didn't know that. I certainly didn't invite you.
I gave the Fräulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again.
Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now.
Gee, great.
Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off.
So no other outsiders were there then?
And then...
Okay, third set. Tell me about it. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots.
You were the one chatting. I was eating snackos.
Ah, hey! No snacking in court!
And you're sure the shots came from Lamiroir's room?
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this will keep you quiet.
Yeah, thanks. So, how about Emma?
We were right there. Hard to be mistaken about that.
Please, either talk or eat. Not both at the same time.
Right. So after that,
It'd be funny if she just kept eating.
me and Mr. Lawyer there opened their dressing room door.
Press everything. Rock!
Blaring, yes.
When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days and is not ZZ Top, who the beard is fond of? That's right, when we went into the dressing room, music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. Did it have to be so loud?
You don't listen to the governors with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have the backstage monitors at full volume.
When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing.
Then everyone on stage for that song has an alibi. Including myself.
Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation.
Okay, so we did that already. How about... I think we do have to press this whole testimony. Let's try this. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes?
That's right.
What was a detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert.
My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods.
Prosecutor Gavin?
Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say the stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall.
Conspiracy?
Well, isn't it obvious? My keys, that whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined, and it's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show, I couldn't open my guitar case.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them?
Misplace them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hand on their own.
What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect.
Air guitar says no. Love, slow acting and new. A trophy 9 is waiting
something.
for you.
Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top?
The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was, like a sailor, adrift on the sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task.
I see, I can accept that.
Well, I can't. What do you mean time on their hands?
I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could have possibly left the scene. Simple and decisive. I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict, even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit.
I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough.
It can't be over already. Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence...
The prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain.
Apollo! They got us on the ropes already! We better come up with something quick!
I know! Think, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Maki is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, nope. Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you'd better tell us about it now. This is it, and so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof? Let's call a witness. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there was no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure?
Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor and on my million-seller hit song Atro Quinine, My Love.
Here he goes again.
That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, really now? But how did you come to the possessed knowledge that the prosecution clearly does not? Because I am the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him and now... He's alive! Mr. LeTouse, can you hear me?
Cold. So cold. Witness.
You're cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way.
Can't see.
Hang in there, Mr. LeTouse. Tell me, who is the witness?
The witness is Siren.
What? The victim said this before he died?
Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not.
What do you mean by that?
All we know is what El Forehead says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself.
But it's the truth, he said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely.
It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly, this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job.
That's enough! Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you, or else the bid will destroy you and find Maki Tobai guilty or something. Whatever. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty.
Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for.
There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. The name is Lamiroir. Lamiroir? Recall Mr. LeTouse's last words.
The witness is Siren.
The siren. Aha! He meant the siren. That's right, the siren of the ballad, Lamiroir. Lamiroir was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin.
My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime.
Very well. Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Ema Skye's cross-examination. Please show Lamiroir to the witness stand. Lamiroir would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is. Here we go.
It is my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom.
You are too kind.
Ah, you can speak English?
Yes. Yes, I can. Though I am not very good. There is much I do not know.
You speak so well. Have you spent time here before?
Actually, I do not know where I came by the knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it.
What does she mean? She doesn't know? What does she mean she doesn't know?
I too sought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course.
What's that?
Lamiroir suffers from amnesia.
Amnesia?
Lamiroir is not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing before the time I started singing on stage.
Whoa, she's even more mysterious than I thought.
As lauded singer Lamiroir, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress.
I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court, Lamiroir.
Thank you. Yet there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
Lamiroir, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet, that young gentleman with the white forehead over there was adamant that you stand.
Oh my.
Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy.
Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. Sexy girl. Sexy, sexy girl. What I saw.
As for what I saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage. And this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then, I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. And that was when I learned something had happened. But I was not told the details.
I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. Hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying.
There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat, and refrain from detaining her here any longer than need be.
Wow, you just got badder, Apollo. Way to go.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Lamiroir wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. So let's do it. What I saw. As for what I saw, you saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage, and thus I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Bullcrap, because I have your brooch. Mother freaker! I'm sorry, Lamiroir, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not?
Why, that's Lamiroir's. She was wearing it for her song.
Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin?
What?
This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime.
What?
Lamiroir, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And, as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. What is the meaning of this? Lamiroir, please explain. Lamiroir?
She says English is quite difficult.
That trick's not going to work here.
Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact.
What now?
In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment.
What?
Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak.
She really saying all that?
What's she talking about, Apollo?
Right when the incident occurred. Ah! Is she talking about that? Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. LeTouse, can you hear me?
Cold. So cold. Witness.
Cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way.
The witness is siren.
Siren? How can a siren witness anything? Yikes! Emma! What was that? Who's there? Emma, did you see anyone just now? I could have sworn I heard a door close.
I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you.
So this was when your brooch dropped. That explains that.
It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it.
That's ridiculous! You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch?
Her forehead. She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence.
So she looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice.
Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed.
Ah,
I closed the door immediately.
well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lamiroir, you did look into the room, though, right?
Yes,
Testify as to what you saw.
very well. Though it was only the briefest of glimpses.
My performance was finished. I went backstage for just... Ooh! The bracelet's lit up. Okay, let's see. The bracelet's lit up, so let's see what we can do here. Time to proceed with the drugs. Anything on the mouth, maybe? Finished. Anything? Come on, there's got to be something here. What are we looking for is the question I have. Okay, let's look again, because I do not remember what the nervous twitch is for this part, actually. My performance was finished. I went backstage. Nothing there. Just a moment. Okay, let's keep looking in the rest of the testimony, what we got here. I saw nothing. Okay, maybe it's the I saw something in the I saw nothing. Let's check. I saw nothing. She's not even moving her mouth when she's talking. Oh, there it is. There it is. Gotcha. Gulping, mother freaker. You may have seen the world, but I've seen your heart. You were flustered during your testimony just now.
I do not understand what it is you are saying. Perhaps this is a joke in your culture?
She doesn't seem very flustered to me, Apollo.
Maybe I got that one wrong. I have to look harder. I'll find that weak spot. Okay, I did just find it. I did just find it. She's gulping. I think that's what her weak spot is anyways. Come on. There it is. Confirm. Man, I'm good. The late Mr. LeTouse's body, you say?
Yes.
You know something more about Mr. LeTouse's death than you were saying.
What?
I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes.
It is true. It is so terrible after all. Why did Mr. LeTouse have to be shot?
One moment, Lamiroir.
Yes?
What was that you just said? Why did Mr. LeTouse have to be shot?
Yes.
She was hiding something, I knew it! Lamiroir, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but... your words just now contradict your testimony.
How could that be?
Take this! Lamiroir contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. The crime photo, correct? Let's save state and just make sure.
If I do not misunderstand the meaning of contradiction, it is you who contradicts, Mr. Justice.
Huh?
Your evidence is meaningless.
Okay, so it's not that. What about this diagram? Nope, not the diagram. How did she see the gunshot wound is the question. How did you know he had been shot?
Well,
Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. LeTouse had been shot. How could you have known?
See? I couldn't have committed the murder. Or could I? Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I didn't kill anybody.